with this series. So I will begin with the first part of our today's training. So, mm, but I think some of you may be the beginner in the field of drone repair, but in our point of view, the repair is more like maintenance. So we have to keep in mind to make the aircraft well after repair. And once we get a damaged machine from customer, we have to do accurate fault analysis on it. Uh, has is there anybody has been so I want to ask you, uh, have you done the damage assessment to the aircraft? You can send your reply in the chatting group. Hello, how about now? How about my voice now? Okay, I will start again. I will begin our training again. Okay. Okay, let's get started. First, I think some of you may be the beginner in the field of drone repair, but in our point, the repair is more like maintenance because we have to do a lot of thing, a lot. Okay, give me 1 minute to adjust the microphone. Sorry for that. Hello, guys. Sorry for that. Can you? Is it better now? Okay, okay. So we will just start again, start the training again, back to the beginning. So some of you may be the beginners in the field of drone repair, right? I remember. Have you ever had the experience of drone repair? Yes, yes. Okay, good, good. So, um, in our point of view, the repair is more like a maintenance because we have a lot of things need to do during the repair. So, it's like once we get a damaged suspected machine from customer, we have to do accurate file analyze on it, right? Yeah. And then we need to output a comprehensive repair solution to our repair stations to tell our repair station how to do the repair. Yeah. And so this part and about today's training is the most important. And this procedure is called damage assessment. I think some of you may familiar with this part. And for this part, we would make the damage assessment as our learning goal this time. Okay, our today's training goal is to learn how to do the damage assessment. And we will make the damage assessment as today's goal. And let's begin. And for the first part, to learn that step by step, and our first step is to learn about the assembly and the disassembly. So can you guys see my PDF file on the screen? Yes, okay. So this file I'm showing is about the disassembling and assembling to MG1P. And today we will talk the T16 later after MG1P. Okay. So I think the most of you is familiar with the MG1P and had some experience about the repair of MG1P. So I will just make this part quick, and I will only point out some important part during the disassembly. Okay, so the first step to do the disassemble is to remove the landing gears. As you can see, this part belongs to the landing gear. And also we can see this part is the accessories on the landing gear. So before remove the landing gear, we have to remove the accessories on it also. So we will just put the first step to do the disassembly on MG1P is to remove the landing gears and the accessories on it. And for the second part, we have to remove. After removing the accessories on the landing gear, we can take over. We can remove the landing gear. And the second part we need to do is to remove the top cover. This is the top cover, right? Yeah. After removing the screws on the covers, we can take it out. And after the top cover, we can see this one. This is called the upper carbon board. It is used for protecting the main boards under it. And then we have to try to remove the modules. And according to the sequence in the video one by one, I want to know, have you received the disassembling videos? Have you received the disassembling video of MG1P? Okay, good. William received. How about the others? Okay, good. Yeah, and during this part, uh, I will explain very fast. I think you can take notes to help you to remember the main parts during the assembly. So I will repeat again because I hear someone new has entered our meeting room. So I will repeat again for in case the missing. So for the first part, I want you to take note is to remove the landing gears and the accessories on the landing gear. Yeah, as you can see, this is the power signal plug unit on the landing gear. And so as to this part, So the second step is to remove the upper cover. After removing the upper cover, we can see this part. This is the upper carbon board. Yeah, this is used to protect the main boards under it and has has some functions as supporters. As you can see, we see many screws on it. And after removing the protect upper cover board and the upper carbon board, we can see the main boards and the cables in the main body. So the fourth step is to remove the modules according to the sequence in the video one by one, because I'm not going to show the disassembly video. So I want you to follow the video after the training to do the disassembly. And please remember and take notes is that you have to follow the sequence according to the video, because that sequence is the most professional and efficient order to make the disassembling. Yeah, and after taking out all the main modules under the cover, we have to during the modules removement, we have to pay more attention to the cables. Yeah, as we can see, some kind of cables are okay. Understand, good. So some cables are plugged into the port, but some we need to do the welding, right? So here is my second question coming for you, is that have you had any experience to do the welding, soldering iron? Have you ever used the soldering iron? We can do it. Good. Happy to hear that. So for this part, we have to pay more attention, because if we cannot do the welding well enough, we may cause some quality issues. Okay, and besides, we have to do the welding to some cables, and for this part, it's very important. We have to set the right temperature to different boards. I've been training in Shenzhen for several drone. Okay, I think it's professional to William. Good to hear that. Okay, so do you guys know the differences between different boards about the welding temperature? What's the height? What's the heat? What's the temperature setting to the power supply board of M2MP? Any ideas? I see the answer is 400. Any other answers? Okay, I see another answer is 420. Any other answers? I will put higher temperature than Miss C. Yeah. Okay. 460. Okay, William is our professor. I think it's our professor in this chatting group. So the right answer is William's answer is 460. Yeah, and how about the electronic speed control board? Any ideas? Um, so my first question is that the uh, the temperature, welding temperature to the power board, and the right answer, the correct answer to the power board is 460. And my next question is, what is the temperature setting to the electronic speed control board? 420. Other answers? Do you have any other answers? 300. Okay, I hear two different answers. 350. Any other answers? One more chance. Okay, 4,000. Oh, 400. Sorry for that. The correct answer, it's still William. Yeah, William, and how to pronounce that? How do I call you? Hui? Is that Hui, right? Oh, yes, yes. So our temperature setting to William Ho, okay? And how do I pronounce Sihuynh? Can I call you Hui? Okay. So our
Call me William Ho, please.
Hopi.
Hey, William Ho.
William Ho. Okay. Okay, good. And for next one is Xi, right? Mr. Xi. Okay. So our second question's right answer is 420. 420 for electronic speed control board. And for this question, I saw the 350 temperature setting. That temperature is for the GPS and for the XT100 board. Yeah, for the others sensors, their temperature setting is 350. Okay, for after the welding part, we have to start to handle the cables in the landing gears and arms. In this part, let's take a look. In this part, we have to, we also need to do welding. So please remember the temperature setting requirements to different boards. And for the cables, we have to pay more attention and be more gentle to the cables, especially for the antenna cable. It's very easy to damage. Okay. So for now, we have one. Just make a conclusion. Remove the landing gear and accessories. Remove the upper cover, and remove the protect cover, and remove the modules in the main body according to the video. And then during that, pay more attention to the cables and also the welding temperature. And after taking out all the modules, in the main body, we have to take care of the cables in the main arms and also the landing gears, because we can see some cables are in the middle of the arm tube, right? Yeah, here, also here. And after that, our disassembly is finished. Just be patient and gentle to the cables. And after that, the assembling is a little bit easy, and you can just finish that, follow the video steps. And also, I repeat, the important thing again is to pay more attention to the welding temperature. Okay. So this is the we can do the damage assessment according to these assembly and disassembly guidance file and also the video. But I will suggest you to use the video more than the guidance file. Okay, it's very clear. And after that, after talking the notice of disassembly and assembly, I will introduce the repair tools, because some of you may not get all kinds of the repair tools of MG1P with you. Uh, so let's take a look how many kinds of repair tools we need during the assembly and assembly. So I think you can take a screenshot about this page and check, do you have all those tools ready? And we need to have T6 screwdriver and also those parts. Also, don't forget the tweezers and the socket wrench. And also, the cutter is needed. And after remove the top cover and the protect carbon board, we can see so much cable. So much cables need the cutters, and also this one and the soldering iron. Okay, and I think this material has already sent to you, right? So if you don't have that, just take the screenshot about this page and check the tools you have. Okay, skip this part. And for this one, I think it's only after the screwdrivers, we are going to talk about the soldering, but I think you may be very professional and familiar with this part, but I want you to keep practice to do the soldering. Okay, and here are some notice to do the soldering, and just follow those 4 steps. Before use, we need to do this kind of thing, and I want you to keep practice after the training according to this part. And I have one question for you in this part. What is the very first thing before you do the soldering? What is the very first thing you need to do before it? Please leave your message in the chatting room. Heat it up. Some kind of, but it's not correct. Clear up the bit. Any other answers? I think this answer is a little bit close. One more chance. Wear mask. Yes, it's supposed to have mask, but we have different kinds of mask. Just try to recognize which one is. Some mask is for antivirus, but some is for the soldering. Okay. And okay, for this one, for this part, our very first thing before soldering is to clean our working platform. To clean our working platform. And because we have to prevent the cover damages from debris, because in the soldering working platform, we may leave some dirt bits and also some screws and nuts and something else, which will damage the covers very easily. Okay, so this is the most basic and simple and easy to ignore. Don't forget to clean our working platform every time you are going to do that. Okay, and one more one more important thing when you do the soldering. I I'm not caring about how you finish that, how you do that, how you use this tool, but I want you to take care of the cable sequence. Mm, do you have any ideas about the cable sequence when you do the soldering? Yes, yes, exactly. It affects the rotation direction, because if you make that wrong, our motor will rotate oppositely. So when you start to take it off, uh, it will crash once you are going to the aircraft, take off the aircraft. Okay, just pay attention. I think you can take notes on your notebook. For the soldering, we have to clean our working platform and also set the right temperature. And the third, we have to pay attention to the cable sequence. Okay, so it's those three affairs. It's very, very important. So if you don't know what's the motor cable frequency, you can read these parts carefully. Okay. Okay, after that, we will start to discuss the product modules itself. Yes, this machine showing on the screen is called MG1P, and let's take a look. Uh, sorry, wait a minute. This one. Okay, so this is the overview of our MG1P. Could you please tell me which side is the front side of MG1P? The left side. How could you found that? How could you recognize that? Because I can say the top side is the front side of the aircraft. I also can say the right side is the front side of the aircraft. Mm, yes, great. We can recognize the yes, great. The FPV camera, the camera precision. Yes, we can use our FPV to recognize the front side of the aircraft. Attention, I'm talking about the front side of the aircraft, not our direction, not our facing direction. I'm talking about the aircraft's direction. Okay, front side. So we can see this part is the FPV camera's location. So this is the front side of the aircraft. And could you please tell me which how many motors do we have of MG1P? Yeah, great. Yeah, it's easy to find that. Great. And the second question may be a little bit difficult. So could you please tell me which one is the motor number one? Which one? We can see 8 motors. Can you point it out for me? The front and right. Right side, the FPV camera. Right. Yes. So are you talking about this one? This one? Okay. Good. Yeah, I think we are familiar with this part. But, and the second motor 2 is this one, right? Motor 2 is this one. And we count counterclockwise. And then this is the motor 3 and motor 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I think it's very easy to you. And my next question will be more difficult than the previous one. So could you please tell me uh, between motor 1 and motor 2, which one's rotate direction is counterclockwise to motor 1 and motor 2? And how about the motor 3? CCW, same. How about the motor 5? How about the motor 6? Good. Okay. And I think it's a little bit easy for you. Yeah, I think it's you impressed me for that. And I will type our answer in this about this one in the chatting group. 5 minutes. Give me 10 seconds. Okay, can you see my message in the chatting group? Yeah, I've sent the correct answer in that. Okay, so just pay attention and take notes with that because it's very important. Okay. And for the next one, let me check. As I just mentioned, why is that so important? Why is the rotation direction is so important is that because sometimes we may make wrong cable order when soldering. Yeah, just go back to the previous point. We have to pay attention to the cable order, cable sequence. So just the most important thing is that we have to know what is the normal situation about the motor so that we can find is not good, it's not okay. And next, we are going to talk about the main boards and the modules in the main body of MG1P. So do you have any ideas about this one. Can you recognize this one? Have you ever seen this small box with many ports? Can you give can you give me its name? Can you give me the name? Is the FC flight controller. Right. Yes. So I want you to uh, take notes, and also I'm going to. Can you see my screen about the whiteboard? Yes. Okay. So for one aircraft, we have so many kinds of modules in the aircraft, but after you learn so many kinds of uh, aircraft such as Mavic and Agras and the T16, you will find that we can find almost the same modules in the different kinds of aircraft. So the first one we just talked about is the flight controller, right? Yeah, so we'll just record in the whiteboards first. And do you know its function? Do you know its function? What's the function of the flight controller? Any ideas? Control aircraft how to keep it flight stable. Right. Yeah, this is one of its function. Any volunteers? Okay, I will keep in the whiteboard. Keep the aircraft stable during flight. So any other answers? Okay. And the flight, this one, okay. And any other answers? I think we have seen the second right answer. Data analyzed from electronic component. Yes, great. It's perfect. Um, okay, good. So I think this answer is perfect enough. So for the flight controller, its main function is to keep the aircraft stable during flight because um, it has it can collect informations, data from our sensors. Our sensor will tell our flight controller that is it is it the normal flight condition about MG1P. If it's not, our flight controller will feedback, um, adjust informations and signals back to the sensors, and the controller and like the control boards. For example, uh, for example, uh, the mm, how to say that? For example, this aircraft is flying too fast, and is there is a obstacle in front of the sensor, which means is the FPV camera. So our FPV camera will tell this information to the flight controller. The flight controller will know there is a obstacle in front of the flight controller, and also our accelerometer will tell our flight controller your speed is too high and you are supposed to hit you are going to crash into the obstacle if you are going to flight in this speed. And this in this situation, our flight controller will tell our motor to rotate slower and then make the speed more slower. And then our flight controller will keep our um, aircraft slow down the speed, and some kind of aircraft they will they will avoid the obstacle automatically. So we in this case we find that our flight controller can collect information from our sensors and also make judgments and also feedback control signal to the sensors and also the control boards. Okay, let's go back to the PowerPoint. And so for the flight controller's function, do you have any other questions? If you have any, you can just ask me for help. Collect information, make judgment, feedback, the control signal. Okay, so if you have no any other questions, um, we will just move on. But before that, I want you to pay more attention to this part. As you can see, this is the connect relationship of a minute. This is the connect relationship of the flight controller. You can see so many kinds of cables connect with it. And we have to put the right cable in the right port. So if you don't know how to connect the cables, you can just read this part and based on this photo, okay, we can see some labels on here. Okay, let's move to the second part. And this is the central board. Have you ever seen this part? Have you ever seen this board? Yeah. So is there anybody could tell me the differences between central board to the flight controller from the appearance? Okay, this is how the flight controller looks like. This is how the central board looks like. Can you find any differences between them? I think there are so many differences between them. Oh, yes. We have found the external answer from William. Yeah. So we'll just keep on going. So from the William's answer, yes, yes, great. Yeah. So this is one word because we can see there are so many descriptions about the central board, but in one word, this is the power distribution board. Yes, great. And in detailed description, in one word, is that the central board will distribute the power to each component, especially for the flight controller. Yes. So if our battery or our power supply function is abnormal, we may try to check this board or some cables connect to the related modules. Okay, this is the power distribution board. And I see a question from Hohen Vu, right? Hohen. Is it short for power management? Okay, Mr. Wu. So is it short to power management unit? Sorry, I don't understand your question. You mean what is short? Oh, this is the power management unit. Okay. So any questions about this part about the central board? Okay, if no, we'll just move on. And one more thing, we have to pay attention to the connected cables. As you can see, the CAN1, PMU, and the power cable bus and FPV, and also those kind of cables and modules are connected to this part. Yeah, you can very easily to find the connect relationship according to this picture and the characters. So anybody could tell me what's this one? I think it's very, very easy, this question. It's GPS. Great, great. You are faster than me. Excellent. So we can see this round module is the GPS module, and also we find one small thing. It's this one. It's the compass. So this is going to be an important and basic knowledge about the GPS is that our GPS in our aircraft is working together. Our aircraft, our GPS and compass in our aircraft, they work together, and you can find them. It's their location is very near. It's very near. So, which means that once you find the compass, which means that you can find the GPS in the, you can find the GPS nearby. Okay, and the GPS provide the aircraft a location. Mm, yes, you can say the compass and GPS is in one module, but they are two different module, but they work together and sometimes they will combine together as one unit. Okay, so but GPS is GPS module and the compass is the compass module. Okay, so GPS provide the location information to the aircraft and the compass provide the direction information to the aircraft. Okay, so back to the whiteboard. So after talking about the flight controller, we talked about the, which one? We talked about another module, another main board about the aircraft. Is the power. right? Power distribution board. Its function is to distribute power to modules. Okay, the third one is very easy. It's the GPS and the compass. Okay, and back to here. And can you tell me what's this one? What's this one? Adaptive board. Hello, guys. Can you hear my voice? Okay, so we'll just move on and I will reveal the answer for you. So this one we can see it is connected with our electronic speed control board. Yeah, so do you know what is the electronic speed control board? This one. Do you have any ideas about the electronic speed control board, which is the ESC? Any ideas? So back to here. ESC. Do you know its full name? Yeah. CTL. Electronic speed controller. Yes, good. Electronic speed controller. So can you guess what's the function of it? I think it's very easy to guess from the name. Okay, provide speed control, motor rotation. Yes, so great. This function is to control the rotate speed. Yeah, control the motor speed. And also it has the second function. Feedback. Motor working condition, such as the temperature, the rotate speed, to tell our main controller if it's normal. Okay. So this electronic speed control board's working logic is the same to the GPS and compass. They work together as one unit, just like Gian Carlos Zara's answer. Compass and GPS in one module. Yeah, which means that once you find the electronic speed controller, you can find the motor nearby. So you can regard it them as one unit. No, not recently. Recently, we cannot repair faulted electronic speed control board. If the ESC board is damaged, we need to replace the whole unit, the whole board. So how about LED on the indicator? It's not available to do that. Yes, recently. So any other questions? Okay, we'll just move on. So this is the adaptive board to the electronic speed control board. So which means that motor, the motor working condition information will send to the electronic speed control board first, and then the ESC board will send forward the information to the adaptive board, which is this board. And this board will send and forward the information, the motor information to the main controller. And at the same time, those boards will assume energy from the central board, which is this one. Okay, because when the board is working, it needs power. It needs power. So for this one is the SDR module. So it's a SDR module. So have you ever seen this one? You can see the FPV camera is connected in this board. It's connected with this board and this port directly. And also we can see the antenna. So if you forget what this module function, you can recognize that with the antenna. If you see the antenna, which means that this board is related to the information transmission. So do you know how, a minute, I'm going to show you my whiteboard. Have you ever used this kind of cell phone? It has a long wire. It has a long antenna. If you cannot hear the voice well, you have to put this antenna longer. So the antenna's function is to send informations to the remote controller and also receive the information from remote controller. So for this part, we have to know is it takes in charge of the image transmission and also the image receiving. So if you have any problems about if this machine you receive have something problem about the image transmission issue, for example, like I cannot see the camera visual very clearly and it disconnected sometimes, you can try to do the diagnose according to this board. Okay. So this is the in information transmission board. So it has two functions. It has two functions. Send and receive informations between aircraft and remote controller. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So this is what the FPV camera looks like. So this is the searchlight. You can use it in the low brightness environment. And also this is the camera. We can see the live video in real time in our remote controller. We have to thank to this camera. Yeah. And also it can help our drone to to do the obstacle detective. Okay, so it's very simple, and not going to discuss more about that. And this is the motor and electronic speed control board. And for this part, we have to do the soldering. Yeah, so for this one, pay attention. Uh, Pay attention to the sequence about the cable, and also the temperature is different. So do you know what's the radar's working? What's the radar's function? So it's the same. It's similar to the GPS. It has one function called height detected. Height detected. And also it can help our drone to know the obstacles. Yeah. So this when you find that your MG1P cannot detect the height normally and cannot detect the obstacle normally, you have to check the radar. Yeah. So for the next part, we have the FPV and radar. Its function is live video and obstacle avoidance. Yes, only detect front and back side, and also the top and bottom side. The FPV use the light wave to help us find the video and obstacle, and also the radar use the sound wave to help us to find out the obstacle. Um, I think you may have some a question about the radar. Is the motor shaft of all motor? A minute. The motor shaft of all motor. You mean All the motors are interchangeable. I'm not sure about your question. Of all motor. Okay, I will record. He means on arm. Okay, I remember it's the same, but I think I need to check. And after that, I will reply. That's okay. The shaft is the motor shaft of all motor identical. Okay, record it. And please wait for my reply after training. Okay, thank you. And for the previous question, only detect front and back side obstacle because the answer is yes. A minute. Yes, you can see is installation that in. Oh, sorry. As you can see, the install direction this is this side. So the radar inside they rotate from this direction, rotates direction. So from the left and right side, we cannot detect anything. Okay, we cannot detect anything. So, which means that we have to pay attention to the left and the right side's obstacle when you do the planning, okay, in the remote controller. Just take notes. Pay attention to the left and the right obstacle because our radar cannot detect these two sides obstacles. And for this one, this is the pump. I think it's very easy to know what's the function, and it just looks like it's like a person's heart. And the heart is strong, the pump working performance is strong. Okay. So for this one, uh, so far do you have any questions about the module functions? I think it's not so difficult. Okay. So if you have further questions, leave the message in the chatting group. Okay. Yeah. And for this one, after talking so much about the functions of the main boards, as we can see, this is the principal diagram of MG1P. Have you ever seen this one before? The principal diagram or the electronic diagram. Mr. Xi means that the flow meter in 1P is the same to the 1S. Not sure about that. Okay, we'll just move on right now. And this is the principal diagram of MG1P. Some of you may have ever seen this before, but you may not know. You may not knowing what's the function. What can we do by using this, right? So this main function is to help us to do the damage assessment diagnose. For example, our MG1P cannot recognize the directions of itself. What should we do to start the checking? Yes. So if we have this principal diagram, we can start to check the compass first, right? Because for some new beginners, he may not, he cannot, he don't know how to start the damage assessment. But if we have this one, it's better to, it can make our beginner better to start the damage assessment. And also, for example, our link board is not working well. What should we do? It's here. So we can start our damage assessment according to this principal diagram. And it shows the connection relationship between the whole unit. Yes. And it's a useful and efficient tool to help us during damage assessment. And later on, we'll see why we say it's so important and useful. Okay. So after this, check if it's this one. Okay, for this one. Okay. And after learning about the function of the modules and the principal diagrams, and we will go back to the very first section. And as I just mentioned, and as I just mentioned, today our main task, our learning goal is to learn about the damage assessment. So this is the learning goal we are going to talk about is how to do the damage assessment. So for the damage assessment, we have two steps need to do. And see my a minute. Can you see my whiteboard? Hello guys. Can you hear my voice? Okay. So we'll just move on. So this part is the damage assessment. And also we have two steps need to do during the damage assessment. The first is the visual inspection. And the second one is the functional inspection. So do you have any ideas how to do the visual inspection? So I'm going to make a brief introduction about the visual inspection. Yeah, in this part, our main task is to find out all the damage to the appearance modules. Yeah, to find out all the damage modules. But it's from the appearance side. And just for example, like the arms, motors, covers, and so on. And the most damage to the appearance manifests similar conditions like some yes from outer area, yes, from the outside by visual, yes. The most damage to the appearance manifests similar conditions. I'm going to say some visual damage. Okay, so like misshapen. Have you ever met that? And some are cracks, misshapen, cracks. And even worse is broken, right? It's broken. And sometimes that damage is very heavy. That will be even worse, is the part missing part. Okay, so our goal in this part is to use our eyes and touches to find out the damaged part from the outer area. And for this one, if you don't know how to do that, the detailed sequence of the visual inspection is to do that according to those steps. One, remove all the propellers and rotate the motors and check. And just finish that step by step. But for the motor, sometimes we have to check if it's misshapen or not. So one method is that we can use the gap between we can use the gap in the motor. Yeah, and use our hand to rotate the motor manually and check the distance between the distance of the gap is changing or not. If it's changing, keep changing, you can diagnose that the motor is damaged. And some other situation is very easy to find. It's like some noises not moving smoothly or something else. And sometimes we may see the burning side to our motor. Okay, for the others, it's nothing difficult to find from the visual inspection part. You can just follow the steps. And for the second part, I'm going to make a brief introduce. Is that in this part, our main task is to find out all the functional error. So my question is, how can we find the functional error? What can we do to find out the functional error? Please leave your answer in the chatting group. My question is that how can we do to find out all the functional error in the functional test? So I mean in this part, in the second part of damage assessment, what can we do to find out all the functional error, functional damage to MG1P? Check rotation with DJI Assistant. Yes, great. Any other answers? The first answer is correct. From the app. Yes. So MG app. Yes. Great. Any others? Any other answers? Check with the controller. Yes. Check LED light. Great. Indicators error. Great. So we have so many ways to check the functional, but the most important thing is that we have to power on the aircraft and then use our remote controller. Power on and use our remote controller. And after that, use the LED indicator to help us to know the working status of the aircraft. And also we can use the DJI Assistant 2 for MG, right? So we have those kind of software to help us do the damage assessment to the functional test. And back to this part, in the rest of this page, will shows the sequence, the steps to do the functional test, and including how to use the DJI Assistant 2 for MG and also the remote controller app. How to do it is very detailed. I want you to read these after the training, okay? Yeah, and try to practice step by step according to this file, the MG1P damage assessment procedures. Okay, so this will be the last step to our MG1P training, and is that this is the troubleshooting guidance to MG1P. So here is one question for you, is that if you find the MG1P cannot maintain its altitude and drops suddenly during flight, what can we do to locate the damage? Check barometer. Yes. Voltage. Yes. Yes. Propeller. Okay. I saw 4 answers. One is checking the power of battery. One is checking the barometer. One is check the voltage of the battery. And one is to check the propeller. And one is for checking the radar. Okay, I received 5 answers and I will try to analyze one by one. For the first one, is the barometer, right? For the barometer and the voltage and the propeller, those, and also the battery. For those 4 datas, we have to check before flight, not check them during flight, okay? It's very important because why did I say the repair the repair stands for the maintenance in our point of view, because we have many things need to do, not just in flight but also before flight and after flight. And this part, before flight, we have to check everything about the compass, the battery level, the barometer, the battery voltage, and also the propeller to check are they working well? If not working well, replace the battery, replace the propeller, and also try to calibrate the compass or something else. Okay, just check all those things before flight. And I see one answer from Mr. Shi is close to the right answer, because let's read the question again. It cannot maintain its altitude and drops suddenly. Some of you may think is the flight controller damage, but you have to know the how to say, the flight controller is working based on the sensor's information. And if sometimes our sensor is abnormal, is damaged, it will cause the flight controller not working well. So the next we have to think about is that what kind of sensor will cause the altitude and the drop abnormal. And when we talk about a drop, which means that I want you to fly 10 meters height, but it suddenly drops to the 8 meters. So it's the height unstable, right? It's the height detect sensor abnormal. So as we just mentioned, the height detector is the radar. It's the radar. So which means that we have to check the radar, the sensor, which means is the radar first. Okay. If the sensor it has no problem at all, then we can locate the damage to the main controller. So for the following part is to help us to check the motors, to check the radars step by step, one by one. Okay, so from this part, I want you to read them after the training, and we'll just take a brief view of it. So for the next step is to check the height detect sensor, the radar. So this one is to check the radar is working well or not. Determine whether the obstacle avoidance radar is correctly installed. Because for this part, sometimes the screws not installed tightly, it will cause the incorrect installed. And then during flight, the radar will shake because of the incorrect installed. And after checking that it has no problem, and then we have to check its working condition. Yeah. And after eliminate the installation problem, we have to check the radar can rotate normally or not. If it's some stucks and debris in the gaps of the radar. And after removing the debris or some stones during the gap, and then check its altitude. Yeah, and then step by step, then you can find if it's the radar's problem or the main controller's problem, and also if it's the cable between them problem. Sometimes we may find is only the cable damage. Yeah, if the cable connection is not stable between the main boards, and then it will cause working performance unstable. Yes, so this is only one common. This is the first one common malfunctions, and also we can find others uh, others malfunctions troubleshooting, and I think you can pay more times after the training to check them one by one. And sometimes those are the common damages and troubleshootings that you may need in the future. So it's very much, it's too much, but it is very useful. Okay, so read them carefully after the training. But no matter what kinds of malfunction and damages they are, we our damage assessment method is the same. The first is the visual inspection, and the second is the functional inspection. Only the only differences between the different environment and circumstance is the damage style, not strictly the same. Sometimes you may receive the drops suddenly machine. Sometimes you may receive the weak image transmission machine. Okay, but no matter what, you just follow the same sequence, procedure, and order to do the damage assessment, and according to the troubleshooting file, then you can finish that very perfectly. Okay, so here, after calibrating remote controllers, it's acceptable. Yes, and I received one question from Mr. Bishri, right? Mr. Bishri. I don't know, my pronounce is good. Okay. His question is, after calibrating remote controller in MG1P, sensitivity of left stick is 99%. Is that acceptable? My answer is correct. Is acceptable because we cannot find anything in this world can reach 100%. Okay, except I 100%. Okay, this word. So the 99% is acceptable. And next, we are going to talk about the T16. And if we got enough time, we will talk about the charger and the remote controller. I think we still got times, and let's get started to the T16. How about we continue 5 minutes later or 10 minutes later and take a break? Okay, and see you in 10 minutes later. Okay, see you later. Hello guys, I'm back. Yeah, nice to see you again. And let's get started. Okay. So have you get the T16 with you? Have you received? Okay. So for this one, there are some, I can say it's totally different at most modules to the T16. And first, uh, this is the overview of our T16. And as you can see, can you tell me which side is the front side of T16? Yes, great. Yeah, this is very easier for us to recognize the front side. Yes, also we can use the same method, is that we can use the FPV's direction location to help us to find out the front side of the aircraft. And as you can see, we have how many arms to to T16? Yes. So how many arms to MG1P? You remember? How many to? Yes, it's 8. So can you tell me which one? Which one is the motor one to T16? Center. Which one? This one? Yeah, the FPV1 is the motor one of T16. And this one, counterclockwise. We start counting from the counterclockwise, and this one is the motor 2 and motor 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so every motor 1 rotate direction is CCW. So can you tell me which motor rotate direction is CCW the same as motor 1? 1 and 3 and 6. Are you sure? Ah, you sure? Okay, it's a little bit complicated. So, this and this. So this is the arms of T16. So which one is the number 1? This is the number 1 motor, right? This is the front side of the aircraft. And so this is the number 1, and this is the 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So the rotate direction order is not the same to MG1P. So the, how to describe that? So for the T16, its rotate direction is like this. Those three are the same. And those three are the same. So the 1, 3, 6, it's CCW. And the rest, 2, 4, 5, it's CW. Do you know the reason why we put the motor direction, rotate direction like this? It's for stronger, uh, it's for stronger liquid to the farms for farming, because we have the wind wheel. We have the stronger wind wheel like this. When our motor rotate direction like this. So for T16, 1, 3, 6, CCW. 2, 4, 5 for CW. Okay, I'm going to explain again. A minute. Don't worry. Uh, Let me see how to explain that. For strong, a minute, for strong penetration of the liquid. Can you see my message in the chatting group? Okay, we'll just back to the back to the T16. And yeah, and could you please give me the name of those modules? And we'll start from the easiest one. Can you give me the name of the number 5? Number 5. What's the name of the number 5? Okay, good. Noses and sprinklers. Good. And how about the, yeah, it's the sprinkler. Sprinkler. So how about the number 9? Yes, pumpers. We see 4 pumpers. And how about the 7? 7. Yes, motor. We only see one motor, right? No S. It's the motor. And how about the 6? Number 6. RTK. Yes, it's the RTK antenna. It's the RTK antenna. This one. Yeah. Because the RTK antenna has 3 kinds of modules inside. One is the covers. As you can see, the black covers. And inside of it, we have one RTK main boards. We have one board inside the cover. And also we have one antenna cable feeder. We have one cable connect with the module, with the main board. Okay. So for, how about the number 10? Yes, it's the flow meter. And how about the number 8? Yes, electronic speed controller. How about the number 3? Yes, it's the LED board. As you can see, this is the board. It's the main board. It's a board of it. And how about the how about the number 3? Number 3. How about number 2? Sorry for that. Number 2. It's the radar, right? Yeah. And the 12, it's the charger. So the most important board is these two, number 1 and the number 11. So what's the name of the number 1?